coach's comment. Let me know if you have a question.
How's everybody today? I think, after reviewing, the last game, probably one thing that sort of stood out to all of us is that it showed that how important paying attention to detail is in any game. Because when we paid attention to detail, we did pretty well. When they paid attention to detail, they did pretty well. When we didn't do things correctly, we got exposed, and you would probably say the same thing, and their coach would probably say the same thing about what they did. In the second half, we obviously executed better, played together better, overcame adversity, did a much better job of, taking control of the game, which I think says a lot about, the competitive spirit of our team. So I think the most important thing about this last game is that when you have an emotional win, that the players respond the right way to, the next game. So if paying attention to detail was important to performance in the last game, which a lot of that happens in preparation and practice, then practicing correctly and paying attention to detail this week is certainly going to affect our focus and our ability to improve as a team and get the kind of preparation that we need to play well against a very good team. Players of the week, I think you guys got all these guys, but Austin Shepard and T.J. Yeldon on offense, and Trader Priest and Ha-Ha and C.J. Mosley, who was a defensive player of the week in the SEC, and special teams, Kate Foster and Jerry Williams. I think that Mississippi State probably has, a very good team. To have 5 losses to teams that are all rated in the top 20, playing very competitively in every one of those games and being in every one of those games. Sort of, you got to look past the record because this is a very good team offensively. They can run the ball, they keep the ball, the time of possession is good. Defensively, they're one of the in the top tier of the SEC defensive teams. They're very well coached. Dan has done a great job there. They play hard. They're very physical. They play with a lot of toughness. Their team sort of spirit shows on special teams in terms of the way they do things. So this is a very good team that we're going to have to do a really good job of getting ready to play and play well. It's always important to play well on the road. Every place that we play is a difficult place to play, and Starkville is no different. So one thing I would like to say is today being Veterans Day, that we all have a very special appreciation and thanks to all the veterans out there who have made sacrifices in more ways than we may even realize in terms of what they've done to create an atmosphere that we all have the freedom to live in and the quality of life that we have and continue to have because of their service to our country. So just wanted to say that from a team standpoint, from the University of Alabama, we certainly appreciate and thank you for all that you've done as veterans in serving our country.
Start with there. Coach, do you take any happiness or personal satisfaction away when a guy like Tanae Patrick, who's been in the program for 5 years, doesn't play a ton of snaps, when he comes through and steps up and makes a big play like he did Saturday night?
Well, you always like to see players make plays, and Tanae's been a guy that whatever his role has been here, he's been willing to play. He never gets disappointed, never gets frustrated, always upbeat and positive, and he's played for us all year on goal line, and that was certainly a huge play in the game early on when we weren't playing well, and could have made a huge difference in the outcome of the game, I'm sure, as well. So we're very excited and happy to see him make the play, but it was great for our team as well.
What did you see from Cyrus Jones on film, and also has he done enough to kind of secure that spot going forward?
Well, Cyrus, did a good job in the game. They've got some really challenging guys to try to cover. At times we did a pretty good job. I think he did better in the game as the game went on. I think he got more confident as the game went on. And we we obviously did a better job of covering him in the second half than we did in the first. We also did a better job of pressuring the quarterback, which I think is also something that goes hand in hand with getting off the field on third down and playing a little better. So we were pleased with the way Cyrus played. We have a lot of confidence in Bradley Sylvie. If we can get him healthy, there's certainly going to be competition at every position with guys that have played, well for us in the past, and I'm sure those two guys will continue to compete as well.
Justin Ballard's got 5 catches this year, 4 have been for touchdowns. I'm just wondering what has made him so effective in those short yardage goal line situations with AJ?
Well, probably the biggest thing is our ability to run the ball, and people trying to stack up and play the run on those formations. And he's a very athletic guy and a very good receiver, a big guy that's a good blocker. He's right in the middle of the mix on most of the running plays in terms of having key blocks. So when we run play action passes, I think they're difficult for the defense to react to, because the first thing you're trying to stop down there is typically don't let him run it in. So he's done a good job of executing. AJ has done a good job of getting the ball to him, and it was really a heck of a play by AJ to get the ball to him, because it was kind of a boot man, a guy coming off the edge, and he had to make an adjustment to be able to throw the ball, get the ball to him, change the arm angle and all that, which you shouldn't take for granted from the quarterback. And Johnson did a great job of getting in the end zone.
The back.
I know you've been confident in the offensive line since day one. How happy have you been with their progression all season long, and also the job that Mario Cristobal has done?
Well, the offensive line has made steady improvement all year long. I think for them to continue to play with the kind of confidence and trust and belief in each other, and being physical in terms of trying to dominate their space is a real key to us being successful offensively. And I think for the last 5 games, they've done a really good job of that. And Mario obviously coaches those guys and has done a really good job of helping them all develop that kind of confidence and togetherness that has made them an effective unit.
Back, Scott and Jeff.
Dave, what do you look for after a game like that, a magnitude of that size, in practice from your players? What are have-tos the team has to do to make sure continue progressing and you got their attention that night?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the players have to embrace the next challenge of what they need to do to play well, and you cannot take things for granted. There can't be any kind of relief syndrome that, well, we got by that game, now. I think the most important thing, and I think this last game sort of showed that. The team we want to be is the team we were in the second half, an aggressive team that's trying to, control the line of scrimmage, playing aggressively, not a team playing with a lot of anxiety that's worried about making mistakes and errors. And we made a lot of mental errors in the first half of the game, and you got to be aggressive and you got to play to win. You can't play to keep from getting beat. And I think players have to understand the same process of how we get ready for the game, the same mental energy and intensity that we need in practice every day to do the little things right are the only way that you can play well in a game on Saturday. And this is certainly not the time to think that, wow, we just got over this big game, so we ought to be entitled to have a little rest time this week. That's with every game you win, the next challenge becomes more important in a bigger game. And this certainly will be no different playing on the road against a very good team this week.
Jeff.
Chris Fowler was talking with AJ Saturday night after the game. He asked him if he was frustrated that he wasn't more of a part of the Heisman Trophy conversation. And AJ said that he preferred rings over the Heisman because that's something that the whole team can share. How does that speak to his unselfishness, and how important has that been to your team's success?
Well, I think it's, the ultimate team guy who would, say that. I think AJ did a really good job, goes unnoticed in terms of his leadership and how he affected our offensive team playing much, much better in the second half. I mean, he was very aggressive in the huddle in terms terms of trying to get the guys going and getting them to do the things that we needed to do to be successful. And I think that kind of leadership is really important on our team. It also shows that for him, you know, that's more important than how many yards he throws for, or how many passes we throw, or whatever it is. And I think that's the way you'd like for every player on your team to think. That's the attitude that you'd like for every player to have. Now, does every player want the ball? Does every receiver want to catch passes? Does every runner want to gain yards? Absolutely. And that's all great to have those kind of individual goals. And I'm sure AJ has a lot of individual goals as well. But I think that to put that ahead of team success is something that would be detrimental to us being effective. And when you have leaders on your team like C.J. Mosley and A.J. McCarron, who definitely put the team first, definitely put winning first, definitely are willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen, I think that's the only way you can have a successful team that plays with any kind of consistency that has a chance to be successful in the long run.
Coach, we saw Benny walking around a little bit on Saturday. Could you update us on where he is, Benny Sinceri, where he is medically, how Landon has sort of stepped in and seemed to play better in his absence, and did Benny's absence affect you on special teams Saturday, or is that just back on being a good kicker?
Well, you know, our special teams has not done the kind of job that they've done all year in the last, I think, 2 games. Benny was a fantastic special teams player. Landon Collins was a fantastic special teams player. And, you know, as I said before, when you lose one guy, you change roles in a lot of different areas, and it has sort of a trickle-down effect in other areas. You know, we miss Benny on special teams. We miss Benny in the secondary. We miss his leadership on the team. He's got an ACL. You know, he's going to be 3 months. I don't care if he's running around on the sidelines. You know, he's wanting to race me out there, but you know, that wouldn't be much of an accomplishment. But you know, and I think we have to have some other players who, you know, step up and sort of realize the importance of their role and how we need to have an intensity. Like I think one of the greatest areas you can see a team's intensity and sort of mental energy is when you're on special teams. You know, how guys play on special teams. And, you know, we've lost some leadership on some of those teams. But I think some other people are going to have to step up, and we're going to have to play better in those areas in the future and make some improvement. And it all starts with the attitude and intensity that we play with.
I know O.J. Howard sort of surprised people with the way he broke away from the secondary. Are there any moments where freshmen, young guys can surprise you with something that they do?
Yeah, I mean, I get surprised all the time, but, you know, O.J. is very athletic. He's got really good speed. It didn't surprise me that he did what he did. I thought it was a fantastic play on his part. And, you know, I'd like to get surprised some more about that.
All right, last one.
Coach, after the ball game Saturday night, you and AJ had quite an embrace there, and you showed a good bit of emotion. Could you describe what was going through your thought process then when your excitement over that win over LSU?
Well, you know, it really wasn't about LSU. You know, we have a tremendous amount of respect for LSU and their team, and because they're such a good team, and it was a big game, you know, the thing I was most concerned about and the thing I was happiest about is the way we responded and played in the second half. So it was really about our team responding. You know, I was really happy for our team responding the way they did. It was a great atmosphere to play a game in, and you always want to see your team play, you know, well. I didn't think we played real well in the first half, and I was really, really pleased with the way the team responded in the second half. And I was really pleased with the way, you know, AJ's leadership helped us do that. So I guess it was just kind of a, you know, an emotional moment for me. It was a big win for us. But really, it was all about how our team responded in the second half.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.